Imagine this. You open your phone for just 2 minutes, but suddenly, you're scrolling through one negative news story after another. Accidents, crime, disasters. And the strange part is, you know it's stressing you out, yet somehow, you just can't stop scrolling. Why? In 2018, researchers ran a small experiment. They showed people 2 different types of news. One group watched positive news stories. The other group watched negative news stories. The results were surprising. The people who watched negative news stayed on the screen longer, and their brains remembered that information much more strongly, which means our brains are naturally drawn to negative information. A long time ago, humans faced a lot of risks in their environment. Think wild animals, toxic plants, and unfriendly tribes. In those days, overlooking danger could lead to a serious consequence: death. That's why our brains developed a unique ability to spot threats quickly. Psychologists refer to this as negativity bias. It basically means that our minds are wired to focus more on negative stuff rather than positive things. This was crucial for our ancestors, as their survival hinged on it. Here's the issue. We're not living in the wild anymore. However, our minds still work like they're wired for survival from way back when. News outlets know this all too well. That's why you often see headlines like these: catastrophe, emergency, urgent warning, negative. News stories catch our eye right away. Our brains perceive them as threats, so we end up clicking on them almost without thinking. Let's talk about something that really grabs your attention. When you stumble upon some surprising or eye-catching news, your brain gets a boost and starts releasing dopamine. That's what fuels your curiosity and pushes you to look for more information. After you catch that first shocking headline, it's tough to stop yourself from clicking on another and then another. Soon enough, you find yourself stuck in a cycle called doomscrolling, just aimlessly scrolling through a never-ending feed of negative stories. Then, out of nowhere, you look up and see that you've wasted hours glued to your screen without even noticing. Experts in psychology suggest there's a deeper reason behind our constant urge to check for bad news. It gives us a false sense of security. This false sense suggests that by staying updated on threats, we can somehow protect ourselves. While that's not always the case, our minds are convinced otherwise. For our brains, gathering information seems like a form of safety. That's why we find ourselves repeatedly scrolling through the news, over and over, without stopping. This habit definitely has its downsides. Research indicates that regularly taking in negative news can lead to heightened anxiety, increased stress, greater fear about what's to come. Before long, folks start to feel like the world is way scarier than it really is. In simpler terms, the news can gradually change our perception of reality. Here's some positive news. There's an easy way to change the pattern. You can actually train your mind. One effective method is by being mindful of the amount of news you take in. The reality is that the world isn't just packed with negative stories. However, our minds tend to zero in on those. So, the next time you grab your phone and come across a frightening headline, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself a straightforward question. Is it necessary for me to click on this? Sometimes, the strongest choice you can make is to simply walk away. If this video changed your perspective, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating psychology content. And don't forget, sometimes the best choice you can make is deciding what to skip watching.